All righty. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's episode of Roundabout Sports, presented by Interstate 70 Sports Media and Harsh Construction, LLC, with over 50 plus years experience in home renovation and landscaping needs. Be sure to call for a free quote at 618-363-9818. That is 618-363-9818. Harsh Construction, LLC. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in, folks. It is a surprisingly warmer Wednesday, January 7th, 2026. It is the new year, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you had a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, a Happy Kwanzaa, wonderful New Year, all that good stuff. And so it has been close to a month since we have been on the air. And there has been so much going on. Hell, just in the past week alone. Now, normally, my co-host, AB, Austin Bradley, will be alongside me. Well, over the course of this past month, AB and I talked, and he decided he wanted to take more of a backstage role, help out with a lot of things at I-70 behind the scenes. The Interstate 70 Sports Media, we're more than just this show. There's about 5 or 6 other shows. There's the website, there's the YouTube channel, there's social media. And he wanted to dedicate time to help with all of that. And of course, you know, I greatly appreciated that offer. But with that said, the hunt for a new co-host was on. And, you know, we have bigger and better things planned for this year. And I am grateful to say that I have a new co-host. Well, technically I have 2. So the first one is a guy that's going to be on in just a few seconds. His name's Adam Frecks. I look so forward to having him on. He was the host of Talking Dynasty for many years, and he reached out to me, asked about, you know, doing another show, and I said, well, hell, I got an open spot. Come join me. And so he's going to be my go-to guy with Roundabout Sports. And then Chris Horton, who's been on the show before, will also be doing co-hosting on weeks where I'm not available, and they will do the 7:30 time slot. So we're here to do the 6:30. And without further ado, allow me to welcome my dear friend and the new co-host of Roundabout Sports, Adam Frecks, ladies and gentlemen. Adam, how's it going?
It's going good, brother. How are you? How's it going? How's it going, Brett? Everybody, I'm Adam Frecks, as he said. Yeah, excited to be here, brother. It's been a while.
Man, it has been a hot minute, but I know you. It's funny because you've been on the show during the early days of Roundabout Sports. Believe it or not, during the COVID years, you were on, and
interesting.
Shows you though how many years we go back. So, you know, it's great having you back with the I-70 family, and I'm just very grateful for you being a part of something special here. That means more to me than you can possibly imagine.
Brother, I appreciate the opportunity. When I reached out to you, it was just one of those things where it's you guys have a great team to where you guys are all in, and it's just really I appreciate you letting me be a part of it.
Of course. Now, of course, we got the usual spiel, folks, for those that are just tuning in for the first time. Roundabout Sports can be found on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, Amazon Music, and any and all other streaming platforms where you may listen to podcasts. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, X, and the Interstate 70 Sports Media YouTube channel. It's simple, folks. You just go to YouTube, type in Interstate 70 Sports Media, or type in one of the amazing shows we have, and we'll talk about them later, and just hit that subscribe button. It is worth the 2 seconds it will take. I promise you that. And Roundabout Sports is also on Facebook as well. Also, while we do the show, if you ever have a question or a comment, be sure to submit it below, and we'll be sure to get it on air. So, with all of that said, Adam, the past few days in the NFL have been absolutely wild. And I'm not saying that for a wild card pun. It's amazing to me the head coaching openings that have happened, and one so super surprising one. But
Yeah,
we're definitely going to
to say the
go,
least.
yeah, to say the least. We're definitely going to go up and down through these coaching cycle for the coach openings, who got fired and why we feel they did and why they did, and go on about that. And then we're going to preview Wild Card Weekend because it is the NFL playoffs are finally upon us, folks. So
I think this is the best weekend of the NFL, Wild Card Weekend. I think it's the most entertaining weekend.
Wild Card Weekend is fun. It really is, and I'm not too upset about the expanded playoff field as a lot of people are.
Me neither.
I don't mind it as much. I think it's fun because look, more NFL football, for a guy like me is always more fun.
No, I agreed. Also, the team that ends number one, they actually get a benefit. You know what I mean? Why do number two team that's one? You know what I mean? Like let's put them with.
Well, that's true. It always used to be the the top two teams would get that first round bye, and now it's the top seed. So definitely a bigger significance here. So with that said, we're going to start with the first coach that got fired over the past couple days. They like to call it Black Monday. The first coach that got fired was one of the first notable ones was Jonathan Gannon, the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. Jonathan Gannon, it was not a good tenure because he lasted 3 seasons, and in those 3 seasons, no playoff appearances. The Arizona Cardinals never finished better than third, and he finished with a 15-36 record. So yeah, it goes without saying. And honestly, I think a lot of the Kyler Murray saga really clouded his coaching tenure as well, because for the past 2 seasons, they've been debating, is Kyler going to be the franchise? And this offseason, they have a big decision to make about that.
Well, it's the thing with Kyler. The thing with Kyler is, like, can you run a good program with that style of quarterback? That's really the thing. So no matter, who was the Wizen Hunt? I think it was. I don't know who was. No, it was the dude from Texas Tech, former the head coach of Arizona. They had like a 7-0 start one year, and that's really the last time that Arizona has been relevant. I think they started Gannon's first year where they was a little bit over 500 or right around 500 for the first half of the season.
In 2023, when he first took over, they went 4-13. Last year, 2024, they went 8-9. So yeah. that was their third place finish, and people thought they were going to build off of that. So I really, and of course they end up finishing with the worst record in the NFC this year at 3-14. So they went the complete opposite of what was expected.
That's kind of how it is from season to season. I think we as fans, we tend to see how the season ended. We add players and we're like, oh, we can only get better, bad or good teams. Like, look at the Chiefs. Oh, the Chiefs got better, which that's an argument I'll have, that they had a better roster. But you just never know season to season.
It definitely varies, injuries. I think this year was also bad because James Conner got injured. In the beginning of week 1. So of course that, you're losing your star running back right then and there. And then the backup Trey Benson got injured, and then DeMarcado comes in, and Gannon, in one of the more controversial moments, and I think this also played a role, was he seemingly punched DeMarcado in the stomach after DeMarcado fumbled in the end zone that eventually led to the Titans' comeback victory against them.
Right.
And the Cardinals fined him $100,000 for that incident. Which, look, I don't care how much you make. That's hefty. Oof.
Hell yeah, that is. Hell yeah. Also, that doesn't happen when in winning programs.
No.
Those types of actions, like for those things to happen, that doesn't happen in winning programs. So like it's this is how I look at coaches in general. It's like who has a winning program. The winning the Super Bowl is hard. So who can have a consistent winning program? Like it is, and not to jump ahead, but the hardball thing, guy who creates a winning program.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely true. I take a look. So it's not surprising to me Jonathan Gannon got fired.
Not at
Then
all.
you look at the next one we have here, Raheem Morris of the Atlanta Falcons. Now, this one, okay. Here's my thing about this. So, Raheem Morris, they won their last game of the season against the Saints, which put the Panthers in the playoffs and knocked Tampa out. They had a big press conference after the game. He hugged the owner, and the GM. Like, it's like, okay, cool. There's a lot of camaraderie there. Drake London and Bijan Robinson, the 2-star players of the Atlanta Falcons, even said they would love Raheem Morris to come back. 2 hours later, he's fired.
I get it. The thing is, I do. I tell you what, and it's not his fault. It is not his fault, but I get it.
Okay.
They need, just the whole organization needs a reset. The fact that you sign, and this ain't even on the head coach. The head coach is taking some of the fault of the GM just because it just blew up in his face. To take Penix when you signed Cousins that same year, it's just ridiculous. So it was set up to fail. Like it just couldn't. Like where did they see it going? They were already rebuilding. Once you accept that, hey, we're taking Penix, and then how you pull Cousins the first year.
Yeah,
it was at that point you literally have to blow up the whole thing.
It definitely, and we take a look at Raheem Morris's tenure. I think his is definitely a very, put it bluntly, just very mid. I mean, with Tampa Bay, he went 17-31. And when he was the head coach from 2009 to 2011, he went 17-31. And then with the Falcons, he went 20-25. But I look at the records. He went 4-7 as interim head coach in 2020. Then he went 8-9 in 2024, and then 8-9 in 2025. So 2 years, 2 8-9 records, second and third place finishes, no postseason. In that case, yeah, it makes sense why there was some sort of change. But I also blame a lot of it. I'm sorry, but Kirk Cousins wanted all that money, but at the same time, he was not playing like the quarterback he wanted to be paid like.
No, I agree, but that's not his fault he got paid. So like as the GM, you have to understand, and also what Cousins is 36, 37, 35,
yeah,
36.
37. So.
And he never was. Cousins was a very good quarterback, but he's never been that elite. So his drop off from very good just goes to good instead of these elite quarterbacks. And he's getting paid like a more of a top tier quarterback. So his drop off it's going to hurt a little bit more compared to the greats. Aaron Rodgers, for instance, he's not as good as he used to be, but damn, he can still sling it.
Exactly. Then we get to our next. So we got 2 right there. Brian Callahan gets fired.
Dude, for me, it's kind of like, what the fuck is Tennessee even doing? Like, what's their plan? Like, what is their plan? Since they left Vrabel, though.
Tennessee is the most unique situation in my opinion, because I feel like they are almost an expansion team mode. There is so many young guys on that team. I think Cam Ward's a very good quarterback. I don't think he's a great or elite, but I think he's very good. When your whole receiving core is rookies and Calvin Ridley with a broken fibula, you're only going to be able to do so much. I think it's just a young team all around, and the Titans' offensive line was the worst in the league statistically, maybe alongside the Chargers. So, like, no, it just amazes me how the whole situation with Brian Callahan, I don't know what the direction is of this team.
Yeah, see, and that's the problem, dude. And that's I'm gonna say this a million times tonight. That goes back to like winning programs. They never got into figuring out how to be a winning program, even within rebuilding. So that's why coaches only get 3 years now, because if you can't win by year 3, or it shows that hey, we've constantly made the steps, they're going to be let go every time. No coach gets that 4th year anymore.
So that brings me to I guess, the next coach in our hiring cycle, or firing cycle for that matter. Talk about you get a 3-year window for a coach. Well, how about a coach that gets fired twice in 3 years?
Right.
And of all the people, it was Pete Carroll. Now, I was just on the phone with a good friend of mine, and we had talked about this thing with Pete Carroll and the Las Vegas Raiders. And when I tell you it is an absolute mess down there, it is an absolute mess down there. Apparently, Geno Smith and Ashton Genty were having meetings with the O-linemen behind closed doors, because Pete Carroll's son is the O-line coach in Vegas. And there was a lot of differences as far as scheming ideas between the players and coaches. It is as dramatic as it can get. And it is because of that not only did Pete Carroll get fired after 1 year in Vegas, but the Raiders are getting the number 1 overall pick for the first time since drafting Jamarcus Russell back in 2007. And gosh, we all know how that went.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
So much fun.
Hey, dude, he was a killer off one leg, off that one knee. If we was throwing into a pop-a shot, dude, Jamarcus Russell had it. But the thing with the Raiders, it was almost, and like as a Chiefs fan, like it was almost depressing. Like, you know what I mean? Because they were so bad this year. Like the level of just not even being competitive, especially after winning their first game versus the Patriots,
right?
They just weren't even competitive. And it's like it was crazy to see with that being Pete Carroll as the head coach. You know what I mean? Maybe the game has slipped him by. Geno, I like Geno, but he's just a very mid quarterback. And if you don't have everything great around him, you're going to get the Geno that you got with the Raiders this year.
Well, so it's funny because Geno Smith was also the quarterback when Pete Carroll got fired from Seattle.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But you know what? He had some decent years in Seattle.
He had some good comeback seasons in Seattle.
Pete
Carroll was fantastic, but we're talking about like Geno in this sense. But that also is a testament to the talent around you.
Right.
Vegas does not have the talent around you that outside of Brock Bowers, Max Crosby, who another big thing, the whole Max Crosby deal, him walking out of the team facility and everything because they shut him down the rest of the year.
I like that. He's a competitor, dude. I love Max Crosby.
No, I'm not saying it's bad that he did that. I'm saying that just created more controversy.
No, I agree. I agree.
And he's a competitor. He wants to play. He wants to fight. And hell, if you're on a team that had up until that point 2 wins and you're wanting to go out there and fight, that says a lot, you know?
See, that was my thing. I didn't understand why they didn't do it. I understand that, hey, we want to save you for next season. But as a competitor, you're like, I got 2 games left. Let's knock this out. Especially on top of that, now people are going to look back at Crosby's stats for the rest of his career, see this year. And without those 2 games, that kind of changes the legacy of him for this 1 year. Because what if he comes back next year, only has 7-8 sacks? You know what I mean? So it's just, as a competitor and a guy Crosby, who seems like he would care about a legacy because he's kind of getting up to that type tier player. He's been consistent for so long. So I would have let him done it. I was surprised that they held him up.
Yeah, I do agree. So now Pete Carroll hits the open market. Then we get to my favorite team, the Cleveland Browns, and Kevin Stefanski. This was, I'll be honest, I was calling it for weeks. I knew it was going to happen. It was expected. But here's the funny thing. This was the longest tenure. He was the longest tenured head coach in over 35 years for Cleveland.
Right.
6 seasons, 44-56 record, 1-2 in the playoffs, which, look, he made the playoffs twice, help. I think a big reason for the firing was Kevin Stefanski. And keep in mind, Cleveland did improve from last year when they went 3-14. They went 5-12 this year, and they had the top 3 defense. But once again, a lot of issues on offense. Very bad offense. Offensive line injuries. Quinshon Judkins was fantastic till he got hurt. No true wide receiver 1. I don't care what anybody says. Jerry Jeudy's not a wide receiver 1. You're not going to convince me otherwise until he does. But to me, it comes down
he's
to...
He's a solid wide receiver.
He's a solid receiver, but he's not, the go-to guy. To me, it comes down to 2 things. The first thing, the Deshaun Watson trade. The Deshaun Watson trade Cleveland was riding a lot of momentum heading after the year they made the playoffs with Baker. A lot of teams, people don't realize, 3 teams were in on Deshaun Watson. The Saints, the Falcons, and Cleveland. Cleveland was the one that ended up getting him. Was it a terrible trade? Of course it was. Are they able to get a lot of that money back because of injuries? Yes. So they lucked out on that. But it set the franchise back, and they traded away Baker Mayfield, who was a fan favorite and was the franchise guy for, those 4 seasons. The second thing for me, and this is just my opinion, it's kind of a combo thing. It's like a 2A, 2B. His issues of relinquishing play calling duties. NFL teams have offensive coordinators for a reason. I get you're an offensive-minded guy, but let the OC call the plays. That is what they're there for. And on top of that, just his repetitive conferences, and the fact that they went from 11-6 to 3-14 and 5-12. That there.
Who do you put that on though? Do you put that all on Stefanski, or do you actually?
Oh no, it's not all on Stefanski. I don't put it all on Stefanski at all. I don't put any. To me, it's a 3-person issue. It is Stefanski, it's Andrew Berry, the GM, and it's Jimmy Haslam. Because I think out of the 3 of them, Stefanski was the least in on getting Watson. I really feel it was ownership that pushed it. I think this year, though, if you look at the players Cleveland drafted, and that's always been a big question mark in the past, is players they've drafted. But you look at the draft they had this year, they nailed every pick. Every pick from Mason Graham, Harold Fannin, Quinshon Judkins, they did a great job. Now, this was also the first year that Jimmy Haslam really sat back and let Andrew Berry take care of the draft himself. That's why I think Berry didn't get fired, because he really nailed how this draft. And now they got 2 first-round picks this upcoming offseason. They got their pick, which I think is 6th, and then they got the Jaguars pick, which is wherever they're gonna finish based on the postseason. So they have. I say you draft get a wide receiver, get Carnell Tate, get an offensive tackle, and work from there. You use those 2 picks, I think you're gonna be set. Now
you're all in with Shador.
I think at this point you should be, because here's my reasoning. I've seen a lot of good quarterback play and a lot of bad quarterback play with this team over the years. Yeah. I mean, Tim Couch was good. He had no O-line. Baker Mayfield was good, and then he hurt his shoulder. Like, Shador had a lot of good moments, but he has a lot to work on. Right. My thing is, you have so many other needs besides quarterback. You could put any quarterback in there. You could put any quarterback on this team, and they will struggle because they don't have the help. They need a better O-line. They need better receivers. You know, like the defense was top 3. The offense was bottom 8, I believe. So
how many quarterbacks do you guys go through this year?
This year was 3.
Okay. Because Watson never saw the field this year, right?
Watson and Pickett never. Well, Pickett. They started with 4. I'm excluding Watson. Yeah, Watson never played, and they're getting $40 million back because of it. Watson never played, so you had Pickett, Flacco, Shador, and Gabriel. Pickett got traded before the start of the season. Yep. Flacco started the first few weeks, then Gabriel, and then he got hurt, and then they put Shador in the rest of the way. And when you really look at it, I mean, Shador was not terrible. He wasn't. He made a lot of bad rookie mistakes and decisions, but there were some passes that just hit the chest of these guys.
I thought he managed the game well. Like I don't think he's just. I don't know. I don't think he has a great high ceiling, but I think he could be a good game manager. You know what he reminds me? He reminds me of Alex Smith.
Yeah, like I could
Alex Smith speak. Like that's kind of what Shador reminds me of.
I don't need but this is the thing. I don't need a quarterback to be this like. I don't need a Lamar Jackson. I'm fine if Shador becomes a game manager if the team around him is great. The problem is they're not. That is the issue. They have a great defense, and that's why I don't mind if Jim Schwartz becomes head coach. They're going to interview him tomorrow. Get the DC, hire internally. It would be great.
I think that's a bad move to hiring a defensive coordinator when you have a young quarterback. I think you got to go OC. I think you got to go OC. Hold on. This is where I'll also argue your point too a little bit about the offensive coordinator. I like head coaches, especially when they start the programs, to be an offensive coordinator coming in, call it Ben Johnson. You know what I mean? Those types of guys that you're able to develop more quickly with especially if you're a young quarterback. You have the availability to when you're calling the plays. I don't know, just the cohesion that goes with it whenever the head coach is calling the plays at first. Now, when it comes to having a defensive coordinator as a head coach, I'm all in. And then obviously but Andy Reid's been calling plays for the Chiefs since he's got here. Now, is that necessarily a good or a bad thing? Chiefs have won 3 Super Bowls, so like it can't, I would put that as an ultimate success.
I think it also comes down to you will let guys like Andy Reid call plays. Guys like Kevin Stefanski. Andy Reid is a Hall of Fame coach on a complete different tier. And I'm not saying that it's a bad point. I'm just saying there's a lot of young coaches out there that would not, or at least should not be calling their own plays, or at least not handle it all by themselves. Like,
I don't know, but ain't that what you brought them in for, though? Like, whenever you bring a guru in, like Ben Johnson, you want him running the offense like that. So that's kind of how I look at that thing. So, and really what this is me defending Stefanski because I think he's a great coach. I
think so too. I do.
He's been put in a shit opportunity. Well, you go into the season with Flacco, fucking Pickett, and then you draft 2 quarterbacks. It's like, what was you expecting? I love Flacco. I love that he's still out there slinging it. But let's be honest. Too. Let's be honest what he is. You know what I mean? So he's not a winning quarterback at this point. You wish he was a game manager, but he still has that gunslinger mentality in him, which helps. It makes for fun games. The Cincinnati and the Bears game.
They should have kept famous Jameis, man. I'm telling you, that would have been really fun.
Well, yeah. The thing with Jameis is he's going to be entertaining. Like, if
Jameis is a national treasure, okay? He is hilarious. Like, he'll throw 500 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions.
Yes.
2 of them pick sixes probably.
For sure.
And you're gonna watch from start to finish.
Yeah, you're gonna lose a lot of games 36-24, but it's going to be the most exciting loss that you had. So, like, as a someone of like, if you have a losing team and you know you're rebuilding, dude, go get a Jameis. At least make the season entertaining. That's what these bad teams should. A team like Cleveland could have done this year.
Yeah, that's why it was fun having them last year. I wish they would have kept them. Now, before we continue with the last big coaching fire, on this show on Roundabout Sports every week, we do this segment. And it's my favorite segment of the show, and I can only do it for a little while longer because then I'm going to have to come up with a new one because the NFL season is almost over. And in fact, this might be the last week I do this one just because of the fact that they are not there. Or just because this team's not in the playoffs. So, folks, here on Roundabout Sports, it is my pleasure to introduce this segment known as none other than Just How Bad Do the New York Jets Suck? Man, oh man. Okay, the good old New York Jets. So how bad do they suck? So they became the first team since 1933 to not record a single interception in a season. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about a 17-game season. Even back when they had 12 games in a season, people were picking off passes. But nope, not the Jets this year. And just to make matters worse, their leading receiver, Garrett Wilson, who was out for almost the full second half of the season, guess what? He was injured almost half of the season. He was their leading receiver with 395 receiving yards. That is bad. Now, despite all of this, there are some things to look forward to. They do got 2 first-rounders next year. And Aaron Glenn did not get fired because the Jets are so bad. There's just too many issues that a new head coach wouldn't be able to fix. But nevertheless, the Jets are terrible. And that concludes this segment I always love calling Just How Bad Do the New York Jets Suck? Right here on Roundabout Sports. It was really fun.
Yeah,
it was so much fun during baseball season because it was just how bad did the Colorado Rockies suck.
Yeah, no, that was atrocious. The Jets were screwed from the get-go, brother. I like Justin Fields a little bit, but he's not a good quarterback.
No, it was.
He's not good at throwing the ball. That's it. Not say he's not good at it. He's got to the NFL, so yeah, obviously.
But there was another bright side, Adam. It was fun to see Brady cook.
This is true. That he was able to get into the game, and they looked much better. They didn't get any better, but they looked better.
Well, we have our first question actually here on the show, and this is from Charlie Sternberg here, tuning in on the YouTube channel. What do you guys think, or what do you think on the Panthers? So, once again, here's my thought on the Panthers. I don't expect them to do much, but man, oh man, Bryce Young is working his tail off to prove people wrong this season. I think he did a really good job overall. The Panthers did just enough to get into the postseason. But there is still a lot left to be desired. Also, I did not expect Rico to take over Chuba Hubbard's job the way he did. So, what do you got, Adam? Oh. You're muted, buddy.
Dude, my thing keeps clicking. My computer kept freezing. Excuse me. Um, Now, what was you saying about Rico Dowdle? My thing had froze on me.
No, you're fine. I was just saying I did not expect him to take over the starting role the way he did.
No, I mean, I didn't even expect. Honestly, I thought this would have been. I just didn't see it in the first couple years. I thought this is where they cut loose Bryce Young. You know what I mean? They're not really cut him loose, but they play through the season. They go to a different direction. That's how I seen the Panther season going. If they don't make playoffs and have the same record, like they look totally different. You know what I mean? Our how we receive them is different. If they win this game come this weekend, I think everybody's going to be surprised. This doesn't feel like Seattle when they were 7-9 and I think they won a couple of games when the Beast Quake happened against the Saints. This doesn't feel like that team.
No, I get it. Absolutely.
It's cool to watch for the Carolinas fan base because they have been so bad for so long. For them to actually get back into the playoffs after so many years, like that's the cool part. I like rooting for the underdog. I don't care for the Rams, so I'll be rooting for them. But I honestly don't think the game's going to be close.
No. And before we get to previewing these games, it is time for the last coaching fire that happened, and that is, of course, John Harbaugh of the Baltimore Ravens. After 18 seasons, a Super Bowl win, and almost 200 victories, they decided to part ways after their heartbreaking defeat against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday Night Football, which to me was one of the best games of the year. It was crazy that how everything unfolded, especially in the fourth quarter. But Adam, you got the floor, man. What was going through your mind when you found out Jed Harbaugh got fired?
I wasn't that surprised. Well, look, I was surprised, but like this day and age, it's one of those things where people get fed up with, like, if you don't bring home the championship. It's kind of, think about like Michigan football, how many coaches they went through, or Nebraska football after they that if you don't start bringing championships, especially when you've been winning for so long, they think, okay, we need to find somebody to get over the top. I look at things differently. I think coaches build good football programs. And if you can have a coach who gets a ticket into the playoffs damn near every year, you hold on to that guy as long as you can. Not everybody's going to be able to win multiple Super Bowls in a decade. So if you get a guy who's constantly punching his ticket to have the availability to win the Super Bowl, that's where this, in my opinion, this is just not smart. Like, because who's better than Harbaugh that's going to come into Baltimore that's going to rise them above it? You know what I mean? Now you're bringing in Lamar Jackson with another new offensive coordinator. Everything ripples down. So it's just now Lamar's a year older. Like their core that they have built through the last few years when they were contending, it's just going to look different for the Ravens. Maybe it gives them a shot, a boost. But I just don't see long term. You have a guy who's known to keep a winning program around. Why would you get rid of him?
Yeah, I think a lot of it might have to do with the fact that apparently Harbaugh did not want to put a lot of responsibility of the failures of the season on offensive coordinator Todd Monken, when I do feel Monken is more responsible. But I also do defend the situation I'm defending Harbaugh because the team was also ravaged by injuries all season long, defense and offense. Lamar was out a good chunk of the season, and he definitely wasn't healthy for pretty much all season.
Since the Chiefs game, he was never the same. He didn't have that, like, he was still explosive, but not to the extent that we've seen Lamar be explosive. So he was hamstrung all season.
And I'm going to say this, the reason I also blame Todd Monken for a lot of this, though, you saw what Derrick Henry did the past 2 weeks, these last 2 weeks of the season. And yet, I mean, hell, one game he gets 4 touchdowns. Right. And yet there were some games where he was given 11 carries. Give the man the rock. And no, I ain't just saying that because he's on my fantasy team, but I would that would have helped.
Right.
But come on, man. So yeah, it's and Charlie, speaking of which, says he's got to go, but subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you tune back in soon. So thank you, and
Hell yeah, appreciate you, Charlie. Hell yeah, way to go, brother. It's a good brother.
I really do appreciate that. So everybody, be sure to hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Mason Sports is saying talk about Ladd McConkey. We're about to get into the wild card right now. So you know what? What the hell? What's well, you know what? We'll look at the NFL wild card schedule because we'll start with the Panthers and the Rams. Now, the this is Saturday afternoon's game. We're just going in order of when they happen. Saturday afternoon, Rams at Panthers. Panthers host because they won the division. I'm sorry. I don't see the Panthers winning this game. I'm going to be blunt. I just don't. Stafford, to me, is the MVP. And like I look at this Rams team and they have been very solid all year. If it wasn't for the 49ers and Seahawks being as great as they've been this year as well, Rams would have ran away with the NFC. So yeah, I'm going with the Rams in this one, 1,000%. Adam, I think you're a little frozen there, buddy.
Yeah, brother, I keep having problems. So my internet's acting up on me. Lord forgive, I tried to bring up another Windows without something stupid happening. So we'll just use my phone instead. What was you saying though? Yeah, because I didn't hear what you say because I have great internet access.
I was just gonna say, I was just saying, I don't see the Panthers winning this game. I see the Rams winning this one pretty handedly. Stafford, to me, is the MVP. Team's great all around. Top two, arguably two of the top receivers in the NFL as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. Yeah, it's just the Panthers. Good story. This is where kind of Cinderella loses her slipper for the last time.
Yeah. So then we go to the evening. We both got the Rams on that one. Then we go to the evening matchup where the Packers
I mean, is there really much to talk about this game as far as like what's intriguing?
For the Packers and Bears?
This fucking computer. I'll leave it alone.
For which one? The Packers and Bears?
Yeah, sorry. My shit keeps freezing. We should be good now. No, I was really talking about is the Panthers and the Rams game. There's no really intriguing storylines coming out of that, is there?
Other than nothing really intriguing. It's just kind of, NFC South winner sneaking in, hosting a playoff game against the Rams with the MVP favorite. Really nothing special to it.
So, all right. Now you want to go on? Let's go ahead and go to the Bears and the Packers, which a good divisional rival game.
This Bears is gonna be fun.
Dude, but the Bears are probably the most surprising team to me this year. More so.
Oh, they absolutely are the most surprising team. They have to be. They went 5-12 last year. Look where they're at now. But you know what? It's who you talked about earlier. It's about Ben Johnson getting the team to this spot, rallying this team together. They are just so much fun. It's fun to watch this Bears team. I'm not gonna lie. But they are going up against a very underrated Packers team. When Jordan Love's healthy, he is to me top 15, if not borderline top 10 quarterback. I love Josh Jacobs. I think he's been a great running back for them. They got a plethora of wide receivers, and when they're all healthy, it's a great weaponry arsenal to have. I expect a shootout. They had a classic just a few weeks ago, and I expect nothing different from these two teams.
I don't, man. It's playoff football. So it's one of those things where, like, I think it's going to be lower scoring than people think. It's now this is the third game that they played against each other. The schemes are going to get a little bit different. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think it'll be like low 20s. It's going to
That's
win.
fine though. I'm not going to argue that. Look, not every game's got to be 45-42,
I
man.
agree.
Give me a good defensive battle with two of these in a rivalry game like this in Soldier Field.
Mm-hmm.
I've had the pleasure of seeing the Bears and Packers play live in Soldier Field. It is just insane. And Ben Johnson, to me, should be the coach of the year. What he's done for this team is unreal. So I'll be honest, I'd predict in a close one the Bears win, probably by a field goal. But if the Packers win, I'm not going to be surprised. It's a very close matchup. Rivalry games are just a whole different level.
I agree. I don't know, man. I'm not that up on the Packers. So whenever you say like Jordan Love's a top 15 quarterback when he's healthy, yeah, I agree with that. But come playoff time, I don't think you want the top 15 quarterback. You need the top 6. You know what I mean? So and that's where like Jordan Love falls out of that category. So a lot of times with me, when it comes to games, like it's all right, who's playing quarterback? It's really like the most important thing. Not want to say it's the most important thing, but it's such a vital thing because certain quarterbacks just have that clutch gene. We don't know about Caleb yet, but Caleb looks like an absolute fucking dog. Sorry, my language, but
I get it.
and compared to any season that kind of Jordan Love has had, I think Jordan Love's a very good quarterback, but I don't think he's top 15. And you're missing a guy like Micah Parsons to help you out to keep the score low. I don't know. I just don't. I see like a 7-point game, Chicago taking this.
Okay. Well, we move on to Sunday afternoon, where the Buffalo Bills have probably the best chance they will ever have to make the Super Bowl because Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs and Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are not in it. So that's the good news for them. The bad news for them is they're playing who to me might be the hottest team in the NFL right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars have been on a complete tear the second half of the season. It looked like at one point the Colts were going to run away with the division. Well, they went from being 7-1 to out of the playoffs, and meanwhile, the Jacksonville Jaguars are the number 3 seed. And, you know, I'm here for it. I'm excited. This Jaguars team is very fun to watch. Trevor Lawrence, to me, having a career year. And Travis Etienne is quietly having quietly had a great year as well. Last week he didn't really do much, but they also took him out early because they won freaking 41-7. But he finished 11th in the league in rushing yards and with 1,107, and he got 7 rushing touchdowns. Solid 4.3 yards a carry as well. They traded for Jacoby Myers from the Raiders. So you had him, Brian Thomas, Brandon Strange, Parker Washington. They got a squad. They got a squad. And the defense are no slouches either. They're really not. Like, this Jaguars team is, I think, this to me might be the best This is definitely the best Jaguars team since 2017.
Yeah, absolutely.
Since 2017. Absolutely. But they're also starting to give them 90s Jaguars a run for their money. I think. Offensively, the 90s Jaguars in the 90s were juggernauts offensively.
Yeah, good times.
And and people don't realize, see, the Jaguars in 2017 were bolstered by the defense.
Yeah.
Like
Killer.
that is what got them within 10 minutes of the Super Bowl. Whereas this year, not saying the defense is bad by any means, but the offense has just been lights out. I take a look at how the Jaguars have been this season, and I mean they really picked it up over the past few weeks. I know we take into account, and a lot of people weren't sure how it would all play off, but they get to 5-4, okay? Then they beat the Chargers. Then they beat the Cardinals. Then they beat the Titans, the Colts, the Jets, the Broncos in Denver, the Colts again, and then the Titans. Was it the easiest schedule? Yeah. I mean, it was easy. But
they had beaten Denver's kind of alleviates the schedule softness to where it's like, okay, they did what they were supposed to against the bad teams, and then when they played Denver, they still showed up. So that helps it a little bit.
Denver, the Chargers have a great team as well, and they beat them 35-6.
Right.
Jacksonville Jaguars have not lost a game since the heartbreaker to Houston on November 9th.
Right.
The Jaguars have literally not. It is January 7th. And they're going to play on the 11th. So we're talking almost 2 months, over 2 months, without them losing a game.
No, dude, they've been spectacular. The fact that they've been able to do it is surprising. Well, it's one of the things. Indianapolis came in so hot, and when the Jags were 5-4, it was almost like the people forget. Like, it was almost like Trevor Lawrence was holding them back at the beginning of the year because he would have these fucking football follies almost. And the turning point, I swear to God, it was against the Chiefs where he fell down, scored the game-winning touchdown, and it's like they went off to a rocket after that. So I don't. It's kind of like you look at Jacksonville and you wonder if it's fool's gold because it is so much of the. I don't want to say it is so much of the schedule, but so much of the schedule being so easy. They did what they were supposed to do, and that what good teams do, but. It's one of those things. You're playing a team in the Buffalo Bills that it's their season. Josh Allen has not had. He has open season, like you were saying earlier. No Jackson, no Burrow. This is his open season to go against all these quarterbacks in the AFC that we don't put as top tier. Now Drake May had a potential MVP season. I don't think he is the MVP. So like there's that. But these playoffs are a different atmosphere, man. That's where like these quarterbacks come through. And if Trevor can upset Buffalo, and I know they're the higher seed, so that sounds crazy, that helps put him at an upper echelon. Because right now, and it just the impact that happens to Josh Allen if they lose into the first round to Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars.
Yeah. I could see the Jaguars upsetting the Bills here.
Which is crazy to say. They're the third seed. You know what I mean? Like, and that's if we're looking at it, it's like it has to be Josh's year. It has to. And if it's not,
but it's not just Josh that has to step up.
I agree with you, dude, but the quarterbacks have so much they put wins as a quarterback's record.
Oh yeah,
I know that's not an all indicative because Buffalo's defense has been rough this year at times. There's other times they've been stepped up okay. It's just it comes to a legacy thing. This is a Josh Allen legacy game, legacy playoffs. If he doesn't do something this year, when can he do it?
I think if it were in Buffalo, I would give it to Buffalo because playing in those elements is its
right. Playing a Florida team on top of that.
They're playing a Florida team in Florida. This is gonna sound crazy, but I'm going with the Jaguars in an upset.
I'll go the other way. I think I'm not a Trevor Lawrence guy. I'm still not. I think he's the one who's going to cost them in the game.
I need to have one like outlier like pick, and this might be the one.
Yeah, which is crazy because they're the third seed. That shouldn't be an outlier, but it is. It is an
It
outlier.
is, yeah.
Buffalo
But
should
that's
win
the
this
fun of
game.
the whole playoff structure. So then we get to that night, Sunday night, or not, I'm sorry, not Sunday night, Sunday afternoon, we got the 49ers taking on the defending champ Eagles. Okay, I'm going to just say this quickly about the 49ers. If there is any team that probably should not be in the playoffs right now, it is the 49ers because they missed half their team half this season. They don't have Nick Bosa. They don't have Fred Warner. Brock Purdy barely played. Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall were constantly injured. Ricky Pearsall handled a gunshot better than he handled a hamstring issue. But despite all of that, the 49ers are in the playoffs and in the toughest division. Yeah, excluding the Cardinals, all the Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers all had double-digit wins, and it came down to one game for that number one seed in the NFC. And, Seattle really took it to them. But other than that, I mean, San Francisco proved they deserve to be here. Facts. The question is, and it's just me, we haven't heard a whole lot about Philly this year. Philly's just been quietly there.
You know what? Philly's season reminds me of the Chiefs season last year, but with not as many wins. So
yeah, it was just kind of an ordinary, hey, great team. They've done a lot. They've won when they needed to. They're in the postseason. Now, my thing is, you talked earlier about the shoe falling off Cinderella. I think this is the game for San Francisco where I think just everything will catch up to them.
Really? Really?
I do. I think that Seattle loss showed a lot of holes in this team. And Philadelphia, if there's anything Philly does great, it's they keep the offense off, the opposing offenses off the field. They can sustain drives. And obviously their game plan is going to be keep Christian McCaffrey off that field as long as possible. I got the Eagles winning, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout or anything. I got it, probably 28-21. It's going to be a good game by both teams, but I just don't think the Niners are going to win.
I got the Niners. I'm taking Niners. I think Philly's had a lot of just turmoil and drama this year. I think that finally catches up as well. I think Brock has him a hell of a game. So I'll take Niners.
All right. So that gives us two more games. We head to Sunday night. Man, this cracks me up because we got the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the New England Patriots. Now, you want to talk about another turnaround team. Hot damn, the New England Patriots. What a 180 they did. And they were as close to the one seed as you could get without being the one seed. You almost ask yourself, should they even be in the wild card round? They played so well this year. But here they are, and they're playing the Chargers are a very confusing team for me. They are injury riddled. The offense always seems to be struggling. The defense doesn't wow anybody. And yet somehow they win games. Yet somehow they win the games they're supposed to. They finish second in the division. And despite having the worst offensive line in the league, the Chargers ended up finishing the season 11-6, and they were consistent. They only lost 3 games on the road and at home, so I'll give it to them on that.
Dude, no, they were solid.
They were just solid. They weren't bad. They weren't great. They were a solid team that did what they had to do, and here they are. That said, yeah, I'm sorry. I got the Patriots in this one. It's in Foxborough, too. Come on now.
I'm going to go the same reason. And then to go back to why how the Patriots got here. It goes back to they got a fucking coach. Sorry for the language again. They have a coach that knows how to build a winning program. So I too will take the Patriots on this one.
All righty. Last but certainly not least, this is weird. This one I don't get. I don't get this game. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Houston Texans. And you may ask me why I don't get this game. Because all right. Because if there's any team in the AFC North that I didn't expect in the playoffs this year, it was the Steelers. And
at all? Not even since the beginning of the year when Rodgers got signed? You didn't think there was a playoff team?
No, because I expected the Ravens to be so much better. And I did not expect Burrow to get injured with turf toe to where he missed almost the whole season.
That's fair.
Like, I really thought it was going to be Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, and Browns. Like, that's really what I was thinking. Right. I thought Rodgers' ego was going to get in the way of the team chemistry and everything. Somehow, this team makes it. Now, you may ask why I think it's weird about the Texans. The Texans are, in my opinion, the most underrated team in the NFL right now. Because to me, underrated isn't just about a team that does really good unexpectedly. It's when you do really good and nobody talks about you. And nobody talks about the Houston Texans enough. They have the number one ranked defense in the NFL. Davis Mills had to fill in for C.J. Stroud when Stroud got injured and went undefeated. And then Stroud came back in, and they still just kept winning. Like, Houston, this was supposed to be Indy's year.
Yeah.
But they just collapsed, and in came Jacksonville and Houston taking over. And it was a close finish for that division. It took till last week for the division to even be determined. So kudos to the Texans for making it here to the dance. And I'm going to be honest. Yeah, the Steelers get DK Metcalf back. And yeah, it's going to be a primetime game in Pittsburgh. You know, Pittsburgh is a hell of a place to play. But I need CJ Stroud, okay, 3 seasons, 3 playoff appearances.
Right.
But it's always been, just getting there. And what is the biggest issue with Mike Tomlin and the Steelers over the past decade? Just getting there and then getting bounced. Well, I'm just going to say it. I think they get bounced again. I think the defense of Houston is too much for the Steelers. And they upset Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. And just to put the icing on the cake, I will say this. There are going to be talks afterwards on the future of Mike Tomlin as head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And which is crazy to think about, but I think it's going to happen. So that's my prediction for that game. There's not one game, before I get to your pick for that, I just want to quickly say, there's not one bad game on this slate. But
I agree.
Besides the Rams and Panthers are the worst because I just think the Rams are going to win big. But even that could be fun. I just don't think there's another bad matchup. I think every matchup is going to be worth tuning in for.
No, absolutely. I agree with that. Especially with the Panthers and the Rams one. That's like the least that you're interested in, I guess. Great. What a great scheduling that the NFL did, putting them first to get that game the fuck out the way. Sorry.
Yeah.
So it's just it was smart by them. And to end the game with I would say a controversial figure in Aaron Rodgers on a Monday night. So like they did a great job of scheduling this. Now, when it comes to that game, I think you're absolutely right. I'm not sure if you've watched the Steelers plenty this year, which I try to still tune into every Steelers game I can because I just wanted to see what Rodgers looked like attached to that team. And there's moments where they look great, and then there's moments where they just struggle. And a defense like the Texans, it's one of the best defenses I've seen in multiple years. Just shut down. They can win the game by themselves with very minimal offensive opportunity. So I am taking the Texans to win, but I want the Steelers to win. That way it creates more drama going into the divisional weekend with a guy like Aaron Rodgers.
Okay. Well, folks, there you have our predictions for Wild Card Weekend. Now, we're going to wrap up this week here in Roundabout Sports, but first I want to say thank you, Adam, for everything. It's been really fun this week, and I look forward to the weeks and months and beyond.
Absolutely, brother. I appreciate you having me on. It's been a while since I've dusted this mic off. I appreciate you.
I am grateful for you. Now, folks, as always, Roundabout Sports can be found on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, Amazon Music, any and all other streaming platforms you may have. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, X, and go to the Interstate 70 Sports Media YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. We just hit 260 subscribers. Thank you so much, all of you, for these subscriptions. Now, as always, we end every show by putting up the NAMI helpline. And for that, you dial 1-800-950-NAMI. That is 1-800-950-NAMI. The National Alliance on Mental Illness is the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization dedicated to helping folks who struggle build better lives. And of course, we end the show by putting up the Suicide in Crisis Lifeline. And for that, you dial 988. The line is open 24/7, 365, 366 on leap years. Understand you're never alone in this world. There is always somebody out there who loves you, who cares about you, who wants nothing but the best for you. We all go through trials and tribulations, and I just want you all to know that your feelings matter. You matter. You're just a phone call, a message, a text message, an email, away from what could be that life-saving moment for you. And you could be the listening ears and watchful eyes for those in need as well. Once again, I want to thank Adam Frecks for being on this week as his first official show as new co-host of Roundabout Sports. And we look forward to next Wednesday night right here on Roundabout Sports. And until then, he's Adam Frecks. I'm the Maestro Jeremy Karp. And remember, life is a book full of empty pages just waiting to be written in. Make your lives worth reading. Good night, everybody, and we'll see you next